John Hines there, Wes. You mentioned it earlier. It's nice to see this series win come firstly for the team and then, of course, the fans, but I even think of the coaching staff, John Hines included in that. Love to see them get this series win here tonight. First series win for the Wild in 11 years to make it to that second round. This has been such a great night, and it's only fitting that it caps off an era that comes to an end. FanDuel Sports Network officially done after we sign off the air tonight. No matter what, it has been an honor for me to join you at the desk. Hopefully not a goodbye. It's a see you later, but for me to come out of college at St. Cloud State, join Fox Sports North, then be around so many elites, you included, Wes. This has just been such an incredible time. Thank you to our hardworking crew behind the scenes and everyone that made it possible. Yeah,
I played on a lot of very good teams at the NHL level, but everybody around FanDuel, I mean, everybody cares about each other. It's a lot like what just John Hines just spoke about, as you mentioned. It's the guys behind the scene that do all the work that make us look better than we actually are. Well, unless you're talking to Anthony. He always thinks he's good anyway. No, he is good. But listen, Anthony and Kevin, for me, have been around, have been doing these games for 20 years. And for me, what stands out the most with Anthony and Kevin is just Hockey Day Minnesota stands out the most, and the amount of hours and times on the road, going up to Bemidji and way up north and doing these high school games, doing 3-4 games and then racing back and doing a Wild game. Just the amount of how much they care about youth hockey and high school around there has been it's been interesting to watch. Kevin Gorg is willing to do anything. We saw what he did at Tom Reed's. Was he body surfing there during Game 3? So
giving Herb Brooks speeches. That's to the crowd.
That's it. Herb Brooks speeches. These guys are willing to do whatever it takes to be good, and it was a pleasure to work with those guys for sure.
Yeah, they're true professionals. Love to hear their stories too of those times at Hockey Day Minnesota and all throughout the many years. You mentioned Anthony and how fitting we actually found him. Anthony LaPanta is here at the desk with us.
Can't get rid of me that quickly.
Yes, no, it's the end of an era, Anthony, truly.
Well, it is, and what a way to go out on a night like this to watch the Wild advance into the second round, but felt a little melancholy all day today, just knowing that this was the end for us here on FanDuel Sports Network, and what a ride it's been for 26 years. I go back to when Fox first arrived in this market. It was because they became the first rights holder of the Minnesota Wild, and a year later, it took over Midwest Sports Channel, and I was a part of the very first broadcast that launched back in 2001, the WCHA Final Five. I did the play-in game. I was a sideline reporter that night, and I remember walking down to the set after the game was over, and the first person I met was Mike Diamond, who I hadn't met before, wound up being our general manager, and he asked me, would you like to be a part of things coming forward this season with the Minnesota Twins? And little did I know that would lead to this. And what Mike built here was an unbelievable regional sports network. It set the bar, it set the standard for regionals all across the country. We were one of the only regions that had teams in Major League Baseball, the NBA, and the NHL, plus a major college team in the University of Minnesota hockey. And Mike built a culture and a standard of excellence here that most other regionals strived to match. We had some great announcing teams already in place, Dick and Bert with the Twins, and Tom Hanneman and Jim Peterson with the Wolves, Frank and Doug with the Gophers, and Dan Tierhar and Mike Greenlay with the Wild. But it was shortly thereafter that all of a sudden all these other people that really influenced sports on TV in the Twin Cities, guys like Matt Hoover at the beginning, Jeff Bile, Trevor Fleck, Joseph Marr, John Stroh, Matt Gangle, they were all here at the beginning. Guys that each and every night fired a bullet, and each and every night put together some of the best television that you could find. And it was shortly thereafter that Marnie Gellner and Ron Johnson and I dived in as full-time pre- and post-game hosts. At that time, it was called FSN Live. It turned into what you're watching right now, a pre- and post-game show before every game. But we were touring the state, doing shows from sports bars or high school football games. But with all of it, it was developing rather than boy, that seems like it would be too hard. It instead was, I think we could figure out a way to make that work, and took on some just unbelievable projects like High School Hockey Night, where we were all over the state covering high school games, to Operation Home Base, where we went and did pre- and post-game shows from military outlets all across the state of Minnesota, and of course to Hockey Day Minnesota, which I think about all the time. And many of these started in a casual conversation in a meeting room, but then would wind up with a whole handful of people getting together and saying, we can do this, we can do this, we can do more, we can expand it. We had great behind-the-scenes people in every area, sales, marketing, they were unreal. The operations guys, Bob Rohde, and then Tad Wilson, who I know deep down I was their favorite because of how efficiently I got my paperwork in on time.
Everybody knows
all
that.
All of the details. But we had such a great group of producers below that then, guys like Max and Vanessa and the King of the Clowns and Valenti, who went by Reland, and Steroid Man, and Dave
Everybody
Dittman was a part of it.
had a different name.
They all did. But all of these guys were a part of something that was bigger than themselves, and that's what Mike Diamond instilled in all of us, was that the game was the show. The show was bigger than any of us individually. And our job was not to try to be the show, but rather to entertain, to inform, to maybe educate, most of all to captivate and then convey so that we could share what we were experiencing here in the building with the fans at home. I hope we did that on a night like tonight, because these are the kind of nights that make our job as rewarding as it is. And there are so many people behind the scenes that made it great for us. You know, you think about Fishbone and Ralph and Nicole and Whisper and Nick and Jim and all these guys that would produce the little features that you see in the pre and post game shows every night. Even the people who just jumped in this week, Brady Klima doing a great job, Brian Henry producing this final show for us tonight. But all of the other FanDuel Sports networks are already off the air. We are the last ones to say goodbye tonight. And for me, the production staff was the people that we worked with every night. And I mentioned some of the people behind the scenes, but the people on the air are the people that are friends for life. And I think back to some of those guys from the early years. We started with Ron Coomer, Roy Smalley, Happy Jack Morris, and, of course, the Reverend Tim Laudner.
Of course.
Wes Walls and Darby Hendrickson, with some appearances from guys like Parrish and Clymer along the way. Jim Pete, the great Tom Hanneman, Jamie Hirsch, Audra Martin, Katie Storm joining us here lately. Kevin Gorg jumped on board at some point along the way because I dragged him off a high school hockey bench and put a microphone on him and said, hey, let's start talking about hockey. And for me, the guys that I shared this last chapter of my career with, the guys in the booth, are special. Mike Greenlay, who showed me the ropes traveling in the NHL. We had more than a few late-night rental bike rides around random cities and found the bottom of more than a few bottles of wine in North America over the years.
I was a part of a couple of those.
Yeah, and, of course, Wes Walls, Al Stalock joined us this year, the great Lou Nanny. And then my partner this year, the guy who called the game with me tonight, Ryan Carter. These are the things that have made these nights special. And Ryan and Kevin, a big part of tonight's show. Guys, it seems like a fitting way for us to sign off, to have a game as exciting as this, but I just have to tell you, this is a labor of love, and it's a labor of love that is worth it because of the times I share with guys like you on a nightly basis.
Yeah, Ryan, you know, we all played the game, some at different levels. You're a Stanley Cup champion, but the camaraderie we have, it's a lot like a locker room. There's a lot of back and forth, and that's what makes the job special.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Anthony went through and thanked all the people, and he's absolutely right. You know, it's not just the people on air, on camera, that deliver the program to you guys. It's everybody behind the scenes. We appreciate that. But I also appreciate guys like you, Gorgie, and the team that we work with, front-facing. I was a player. You held this mic for me in front of this door in the past, and from here to allow me to transition to be out there between the benches or in the booth with Anthony. You guys opened a new world for me, a new opportunity, and so did FanDuel Sports North and Bally's and Fox Sports. So I appreciate all of you guys and all you fans out there for tuning in. The support has been great, and Kevin, you always look good. We love you. I'm glad I got one more interview with you. I appreciate it.
Well, you love standing next to me because you'll never look better. But 20 years goes by in a blink, and it's the dream job of my lifetime. I'm not going to lie about it. It's been unbelievable. Nights like tonight remind me, like Anthony said, what makes this job so extraordinary. How blessed we are to sit on that bench and to watch those handshakes and to see this crowd and to feel that passion and that energy. And it goes back to when I played. You can't get it. Once you're done playing, once you're done coaching, you can't get those feelings anymore. And this is the closest you can get to it. It's been an honor to be around the players, the coaches. I think of high school hockey, and we talked a little bit about Hockey Day Minnesota. To see those days kind of come together, you've lived them on both sides, and to see White Bear Lake, to see all these communities rally around that event, and to see everybody at our station every year pour everything into it in conjunction with all the people on the Wild side that do it. But in the end, when I think about the 20 years and I think about the great memories, the different sports, the different moments, my favorite part is getting the chance to interact with the fans. I am a man of the people. I'm always going to be a man of the people. I don't look like a TV guy. I likely don't talk like a TV guy. I love hearing from especially Minnesota Wild fans because I'm right there with you, dying every second of the game. I am sweaty head to toe right now. It is disgusting, and it is pure torture until the end, and then it's bliss. And I am so tired from watching a hockey game. It is unbelievably sad and depressing that that's who I am, but I'm not going to change. And who knows where we'll be next year, but it's going to be awesome.
We're going to get an alt cast for this second round, and we're going to get just an ISO cam on you. I don't know if people know this, but during home games, he has to hide in the stick room right by the bench because he can't watch. So we need live shots of that stuff throughout this second round.
What a night, you guys, and what an awesome group we work with. Thank you to everybody in the truck, everybody that makes these games happen. We have the easy jobs. We get to go out there and just watch hockey and talk about it, but I wouldn't change a thing. So, guys, it doesn't get any better, and I'm looking forward to what's next.
Well, we wouldn't change a thing either, Kevin, and I can attest to that you'd be tired just watching Kevin watch a hockey game.
Yes,
he's not exaggerating in any way, and there are so many. But the times that are missed are the times out at dinner when we're on the road or even in the media dining room on a nightly basis to listen to everybody's thoughts on the game that night. And I wish you could see inside our truck right now because our director, young Matt Laxonen, is sporting an old school Fox Sports sweater that we were joking about it tonight. We've gone through a couple sales, a pandemic, a bankruptcy, and we've all just fought through them together. We don't know where we're headed next year. We have no idea. And I speak for, I know everybody here, that we hope that as many of us as possible are a part of bringing Wild hockey your way again next season. And I hope somehow, some way, you'll find us wherever we are for next season. It feels strange not to follow this club the rest of the way this year. We'll be following them just like Kevin, maybe not pacing quite as much, but following along as fans the rest of the way. So as we sign off tonight, and put an end to the 25-26 Wild season on FanDuel Sports Network and 26 years of our network bringing the Minnesota sports to you. We thank you sincerely for joining us each and every night all throughout the way. I hope you appreciated the efforts of everybody behind the scenes because, believe me when I tell you, the pleasure was all ours. So as we sign off, we look back on 26 years of memories and some of the people that helped bring sports in Minnesota to your home.